Real World News TV with Reggie Kearney and Chair Entitlement, bringing you news and politics. Real World News TV every Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast. Real World News TV, the most interactive, longest-running radio and television show under the Hot Topics Talk Radio Network. Real World News TV, where your comments and your views are welcome. Real World News TV, news for us, by us, that affects us all. Real World News TV.
Good evening and welcome to Real World News TV. I'm Sarah and joining me this evening is Reggie Kearney, Editor-in-Chief of the Urban Sentinel. Good evening, Reggie. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Same old day, just a different set of events.
Is that another way of saying SSDD?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, same old, same old. You got the COVID running rapid throughout the country and the world. Then you got some guy in the White House who refuses to give up. So it's the same old, same old.
Well, it's a little different. I mean, on one hand, we're looking at a very abysmal next couple of months, and on the other hand, we can look forward to Trump finally vacating the White House. This evening, we're talking about, obviously, the resurgence of COVID through the country, as well as the election of Biden and Harris and what that potentially means for rebuilding our economy and helping to fight COVID. As we've seen over the last 2 weeks since Trump lost the election, let me just make that clear, he has been practicing what basically looks like a slash and burn in a juvenile response, because he can't have his way. You know, every trick in the book that the right did over the last 4 years to assure themselves that they would win this election failed, fortunately. And Democrats, independents, and some Republicans came out in droves and voted against him. So now he's firing people left and right. He's replacing senior level people in the Pentagon. And I'd like to think that it's not some grandmaster plan for a coup and that he's just being juvenile and trying to wreak as much havoc as he can to make the transition for Biden and Harris as challenging as possible in spite. And that just serves to show you what we've been saying for the last 4 years, that he doesn't give a damn about this country or the citizens of this country. You know, we know that he hasn't attended a COVID briefing in 5 months. You know, it seems as though he has always been of the belief, and perhaps rightly so, because it's proven to be true in his reality, that if he says it's so enough times, it becomes so. And this administration has supported that insanity for the last 4 years. But now that we see a light at the end of the tunnel, now that he's been voted out, I think it's becoming even more apparent to people. And it's really despicable that he is so willing to put soldiers' lives at risk in Iran, talking about starting a war, putting American lives at risk by not really investing time and attention into fighting COVID, or addressing the financial concerns of people who have been negatively impacted by COVID in terms of jobs and salary and not being able to work, et cetera. So these are going to be a rough couple of months. What do you say, Reggie?
Well, I think it is a lot of slash and burn. Because first of all, his immaturity and his stupidity and his ignorance is going to leave him at the bottom of the heap as far as presidents, of the United States as being one of the worst presidents ever. Everybody is not a liar like you, okay? So he fired the head of cybersecurity tonight, okay? Yep. I mean, that's the total truth. He said there weren't no issues, no fraud. This was the best ran election ever, I mean, because his biggest job was to keep Russia out. He did that, So it was a good, clean election. But, see, when you're ignorant like the guy is in the White House, and your ignorance and your stupidity is beyond reproach. What happens is that you just let anybody that say anything that isn't on your side, they're expendable. Okay, so that's what he did. I mean, but I know the guy's going to have a job. I'm pretty sure Biden gave the guy a phone call already and said, "Look, I want you to come back and work for my administration," because the guy's one of the best cybersecurity officials in the country and probably the world. But it's a tick for tack. He knew that the previous Department of Defense secretary wasn't going to approve a troop drawdown. So what he does, he fires them, puts in some flunkies that don't even know where the bathroom is there. So it's that kind of stuff. So I think what's going to happen, he's not going to concede the election. I wouldn't be surprised at 10 minutes to 12 on January 20th, he signed an executive order for something. He's going to try to be president up until the last minute. And then you got the Pillsbury Doughboy over at GSA. You give her a piece that she might change her mind. She's out looking for another job. She's not even thinking about, letting the transition paperwork go through, which is legally required for this paperwork to go through to be taken care of. Yeah. But Biden, Biden's not going to sue them to get this done. He's just going to go with the flow until he gets in January 20th.
Yeah, it's really mind-boggling that there's still so many of his supporters that are denying COVID is real. I've said it before, there are about 35 to 40 people in my circle who've had family members pass away from COVID. A couple of families I know were devastated by COVID. And just to be clear, these are all economic backgrounds, all ethnic backgrounds. And some asshat online made some comment about Trump being the greatest, yada, yada. And I was like, yeah, 200,000 down, he's really great. And they made some comment about COVID or these numbers not being real. And I mentioned the fact that I'm aware of at least 35 to 40 people. And he's like, I don't believe you. What are their names? And I was like, who the hell are you? Like, what? I'm going to rattle off the names of people and their family members and disrupt their privacy. And it's just insane. And, there was a nurse interviewed recently who said even on their deathbed, there are people who are saying, I can't believe this is real. COVID's not real. This isn't happening. So, these folks, these 70,000 folks who voted for Trump, give or take, are in for a very rude awakening. I mean, they all think that there's going to be some discovery of either a discovery of millions of votes that were hidden or millions of votes that are going to be declared illegal. And so far, state after state after state have Supreme Court have denied this, or appellate court have denied this. So they literally don't have a leg to stand on, and putting Giuliani in charge of it now makes it almost comedic. But you cannot say what's coming down the pike with these people because, they've shown their hand and their willingness to do whatever it takes to stay in power. But what I don't understand are his supporters, even in the face of a resurgence, still refusing to wear masks, still complaining about, taking common sense precautions.
This might sound crazy, but if they want to die, let them die. That's how I feel about it. Okay. Now you need to be wearing a mask. Okay. This virus isn't going nowhere anytime soon. The stupid part of it about listening to that nurse yesterday, I think those people who are denying the fact that there is a virus are Republicans. Okay. They die-hard Trumpsters. Okay. But where I feel, look, if you don't want to protect yourself, that is your life. I'm going to wear my mask every day, okay? Every time I go out and go in the stores, I'm wearing my mask. So, hey, it's on you. I mean, you can't tell stupid what to do, okay? What did Bubba Gump say? Stupid is and stupid be. Let them be.
Stupid is and stupid does. Yeah.
Yeah. Let them be. If they don't want to live, let them go.
Unfortunately, it's not just them. They're taking out family members with them. They're taking out neighbors with them.
I'm sorry, but them family members. This is the thing. If you go to a function and your family member is there not wearing a mask, and you decide you don't want to wear a mask, but you know it's the right thing, then you need to tell that family member or friend they need to leave. Okay. Now, if it breaks up a friendship, it breaks up a friendship, but at least you're going to live. Okay. All these people now going around trying to get COVID. These will bless you. A lot of these individuals going around trying to get COVID tests before next Thursday. Okay. So they can go to their loved one houses. The number of people trying to get COVID tests nationwide, they're not going to get that COVID test result back by next Wednesday. I took mine. It took me 4 weeks to get mine.
My first one, it took me that long.
Yeah, 4 weeks. I took it the 1st of July. 1st of June. I got it back around the 1st of July.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's still no proof. Okay, guarantee. This is the thing. There are going to be other Thanksgivings. There are going to be other Christmas opportunities. Okay, why don't you just stay at home, get yourself together, just lay around the house, fix your food at home, and look forward to the next Thanksgiving.
It's just the sense of entitlement. You know how many countries have reputations for certain things. Like France has a reputation of being obnoxious, and Sweden has a reputation for being pragmatic and overly psychological, and so on and so forth. And I think one of the worst attributes of Americans is this ingrained sense of entitlement, and this I'm entitled to my gratification, and the thought that not having a holiday dinner is the end all do all worst thing that could possibly happen to you in comparison to death or causing the death of some member of your family. It's just surreal, and somebody posted online, better a Zoom Thanksgiving than an ICU Christmas. Really, it really just boils down to that. And Trump has caused more damage to this country than I've seen done in a number of years. In 4 years, we've always known they're racist. We've always known they're stupid people. But the spreading of fake information, the telling people they don't need to wear masks, the minimizing the urgency and the seriousness of this pandemic, and the lies and the fake news, and getting people not to listen to the CDC and the WHO, and call into question anything that smacks of intellect or science, is in part a reason why over 200,000 people have died. And the sad thing is, yes, if you have a death wish, fine, so be it. There was a guy on the train today who wasn't wearing a mask. He was an African American. But there was a wedding recently where they had hundreds of people in attendance. Maybe 30 people came back COVID positive, and none of them died, but friends and associates that they met with after that wedding did. So it's not. If it were as simple as being a selfish choice that only impacted you as an individual, so be it. But it doesn't, and it affects everybody that you have proximity with. So the level of selfishness and entitlement is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, I just don't know where people's thinking is now. Look, because of my age, I have a great concern for this disease. Okay, I'm not trying to let no virus take me out. Okay, Now, it catches me, gonna catch me off guard. That's the only way it's gonna catch me. Okay, but I want to live as long as I can. Like I said, I refuse to let this virus take me down. Like I said, I won't even go into restaurants. I'm not going to the mall this year. It's just things I just want to do. I'll go in the grocery store because you got to eat. Okay. If I go to a restaurant, it's curbside pickup. That's it. Okay. Or drive through. But I just refuse to get caught up into this situation where I find myself, getting sick. I just won't. I just refuse to do it. But I was looking at those guys that call themselves Republicans. I call them buttholes tonight on TV. They were trying to take credit for the vaccines will be coming up soon. Well, Pfizer never took any money from the government, so they're now part of Operation of Warp Speed or whatever they want to call it. But they did. I think they did that for a reason. They didn't want to get caught up in all of the guy with the orange hair is mess.
Yeah.
They didn't, and the other company, Moderna, unfortunately, they got caught up in it. But you see the Republicans on TV trying to take credit for all that's going on right now.
Well, at the end of the day, I don't. First of all, the scientists get the credit, the doctors get the credit, but at the end of the day, they're the ones who are politicizing this. They're the ones who are sitting on things, sitting on information because of how it would impact the election. And I don't care. The work was done under Trump's presidency. Fine. We'll give him some credit for, allowing what was it, $300 million in Operation Warp Speed and all of that business. And, Biden takes office in January. The vaccine gets released in January. People get healthy. Everybody gets a little credit who was involved with it. I don't care about the credit at the end of the day. I care about, bless you, American citizens being safe. I care about the world being safe. And that's literally their job. And to see the cultists arguing online about who gets credit for what, and they're sitting on it because so-and-so wants credit. And the election's over. Credit doesn't matter anymore. The work matters. The end result matters. The rest of it is just juvenile nonsense.
Yeah. But like I said, he's going to do everything. He's going to do everything he can to take this country down with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not sad. It just makes you mad. Makes you mad as hell to see how he's treating this country right now. Has no disregard. And the thing about it, his people would die for him.
Mm-hmm.
The idiots, okay. His people would die for him. Then what's going to happen? I think one of the things that's going to happen later on, with all this, they're going to wake up one morning and look at the empty chairs they have around the table, and they're going to realize how foolish they were to follow somebody who really doesn't care about them. All he cares about is that money.
I don't think they really are going to have that wake up call. I mean, the next 4 years will have to be so astronomical in terms of the economy turning around, new jobs, small businesses succeeding. All of these folks are going to have to directly feel the benefit of the next 4 years in order for anything to scratch the surface of their delusions, because that's what they are right now. They are 100% deluded, broken people. I just, whether it's narcissism or willingness to follow, a would-be, fascist, dictator, or what do they call it? Kernig-Dunning syndrome. I can never remember that phrase, but the next 4 years are going to have to be really, really good. And I hope for Biden and Harris's sake that they are. But unfortunately, a lot of that time is going to need to be spent undoing some of the damage that he did in the administration. Getting the right people back in the EPA and the FDA and all of that. Retracting some of these executive orders that he signed, allowing fracking and selling national park land and, oil pipelines and all of that business. And that's going to take some time. And all the more if he can't do it by executive order and has to rely on the House and the Senate to get things approved. So it's going to be a really, really rough ride. But I cannot understand how watching him do this slash and burn, these folks who consider themselves patriot, I mean, he's like a golden calf to these people. They're not looking at the truth of politics. They're not looking at whether their taxes actually went down. They're not looking at whether school systems are improved. They're not looking at whether infrastructure is improved. Anything and everything this golden calf says is gospel. And you see the melding of evangelical and political beliefs, and people are singing Christian hymns that Trump rallies with signs that say pro-Jesus, pro-Trump, as if they're synonymous. There's something wrong with these people, deeply wrong.
Like I've told you, if Jesus was still living, he wouldn't be a Republican, he would be a Democrat, because Jesus was radical. And he, you know, the people he hung out with were what we may consider the lowlifes, okay? People who needed help, people who needed to have someone to encourage change in their life. Okay, I was looking at something on Facebook. They were just running off at the number of things that the right wing evangelicals did, and then you call this man Messiah, and as soon as you did that, the plague hit you. Okay, and
Yeah.
and that's what it's been. Because first of all, let's get something straight. Okay, Jesus wasn't no white European man with long hair. Okay, that's where they get the thing messed up first. The first thing, that's where they get things mixed up at. Okay. Now, when they finally come to realize, and you see it in the Bible, they had hair like lamb's wool, and realize the dude was a man of color, they probably gonna drop out of organized religion because it's gonna hurt their feelings. Okay, Republicans don't have no compassion for their fellow man. Okay, they could care less about some homeless person on the street asking for a quarter. Okay, that's not them. Okay, They think that they're so close. Okay, you take that and I call her the pulpit pimp, Paula White. You take her and her actions and how she's acted over these 4 years. I mean, she's literally, and what disappoints me, she literally keeps making her money off the backs of black churchgoers. Okay, because church is majority black. They haven't seen the light yet, and that's disappointing and sad that people are so gullible. Okay, it makes you think about that they are worshiping God in the sense of being slaves, because you have a white preacher preaching to the flock as if the members of the flock are still members that are still bound by slavery. In a sense, they are. So I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. You brought up the Jesus reference. I was watching a movie the other day, and I remembered this from a book that I read a number of years ago as well. Even Abby Hoffman said in the 60s that if Jesus were around today, he'd be considered a radical and beaten by the police or jailed or
he would.
what have you. And that's one of the problems that I always had with modern day Catholicism or Christianity. Putting aside the fact that a lot of the esoteric teachings aren't taught to the layperson. We've talked about that before. We use terms like they, them, us. And when you say, Republicans or neo-evangelicals don't care about so-and-so, you're absolutely right. They don't. But at the end of the day, it boils down to who they consider us and who they consider them. Many of those churches believe that we're what is it, the son of Ham, and that our skin color is the mark of Cain, right?
Yeah,
so there's just like there's multiple levels of citizenry, there's multiple levels of Catholicism and Christianity when you're talking about who's a fellow. And they care about their pocket, they care about, I don't even know if they care about their neighbors. At the end of the day, it's their pocket, their family. And I don't believe that the Christianity that is practiced today is even remotely related to the preachings of Jesus from 2,000 years ago. I think that it has been so watered down or politicized by man as a blunt object to keep people of various social stratas down that they just don't seem like, they seem like false teachings now. And there's an ulterior motive that has absolutely nothing to do with spiritual development and enlightenment.
To a certain extent, it is false teachings, because what has happened, the white wing evangelicals have taken religion and tried to mold it around what their idea of religion should be. Okay, they look at left wing liberal evangelicals and they think we're the ones that are crazy, but we're the ones that are truly following the teachings of Christ. Okay. Of Jesus. Okay, we take care of the homeless, we go to the prisons, we visit people, we look out for each other. Okay, and where, like you said, all they're thinking about is how much money they can get and the greed they can get, and that's how they approach religion. So they, I think a lot of them, like Obama said in his new memoir, um, it all started with his election. Okay, that's when it started. Okay, as long as I'm gonna tell you, if there had been instead of Obama, if there had been a white president, none of this would have never happened. Would have been disagreements, yeah, but not to this extent. Once a black man got in office, okay, look, Tiger was taking over golf. We done took over basketball. Well, we done took over track and field. We done took over women's tennis. Things like that. They were losing their grip on things that they felt were theirs. Okay, so they said, okay, we'll allow you to be governor. You can be a mayor. You can be a city councilman or a commissioner, but hey, we're never going to elect a black man as president of the United States. Oh, they got food.
I think I agree with you in part, and I disagree in another, because I think that there is a subsect of the population of this 70 million that voted for Trump that has always been looking for and angling for this type of ideal situation where you had somebody like him in office. We've seen it with them trying to get Judge Bork in. We've seen them try to get David Duke in. And fortunately, those people we were able to identify before they could get into office. Forget about the number of supremacists that got into office that we weren't able to vet and identify. So I think that was always the goal. And I think that these things still would have happened. It just might have been stretched out a little bit longer. I think that the election of Obama and then subsequently the election of Trump sort of expedited all of that, because they realized after Obama's 8 years and they got Trump in, this was their moment to push through as much of their agenda as they wanted to. And they gave it a good run for 4 years. They really tried.
But the thing was, McConnell, as soon as Obama took the oath, McConnell said his goal was to make sure he doesn't get elected 4 years. That he was going to block everything that came through there. I mean, that was his goal. Okay, right. So it shows you the mentality of some white people. Okay, it truly shows you the mentality. They don't want to be led by a person of color.
Yeah.
Okay, they just don't want to do it. Let's be honest. This time, if the people hadn't come out and voted like they did, and they hadn't gotten so many people registered to vote, especially in the black neighborhoods, to vote, register to vote, we'll be stuck with this guy again. Like you said, the time is right. The time is so right that a fool like David Duke, a racist, could almost get elected now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And that's just plain fact, because out of that 70,000, give or take, people of color and women and men who voted for the orange mop head, you're probably talking about maybe 65, maybe 60,000, 60 million people. There are 60 million people who are racist or have racist tendencies in this country.
100%.
Okay, this country is in bad shape. And Biden, I know Biden, his intentions are good. He wants to unite this country. This country is light years from being united again.
Oh, yeah. Generations.
Yeah, generations on top of generations. Because the orange muffin head has struck so much fear into society that it would never happen again. I mean, I was sitting here home watching TV Friday, and I should have went downtown and beat this guy up. Okay, even at my age. Channel 5 local news was down. Fox 5 local news was down at Black Lives Matter. This white guy, with his Trump flag and everything else, was walking down the sidewalk, tearing the posters and signs and pictures down.
Oh, the memorial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just shows you the amount of hatred.
Yeah.
That's in their hearts.
Yeah.
Okay?
But racism is dead. Didn't you know?
Racism is not dead.
Racism is dead. We proved that by electing Obama.
No, they didn't. And that just burned me up. Those signs were not bothering him. If he didn't want to be bothered with the signs, go across the street and walk on the other side. But he literally walked down and just tore a sign down, just tearing them down.
Yeah.
And then he really teed me off when he told the picture of John Lewis down there. If I've been down there, I'm sorry, y'all been getting me out, had to bail me out.
You're a judge and a pastor.
I
You can't be.
don't care. Okay, right is right. Okay.
Yeah, it's really when you talk about fear, and we are a little off topic here, but it's all related, and it's our last show of the year, so we're going to cover a lot of ground. But when you talk about fear, when you were talking about ripping down the posters, I envisioned to myself, under what circumstances would I find that acceptable? Obviously, if they were Nazi posters, not a problem, rip them down. And it seems to me that their fear of becoming a minority in this country, and their fear of people of color and immigrants and whatnot, may be akin. I'm not saying it's logical, but it may be akin to the disgust and fear that we feel innately when we see Nazi memorabilia or Confederate flag memorabilia. These people have been triggered to such an extent that cognitive dissonance rules their every action, and they don't even realize when they're being hypocritical. And I'm convinced that you may have some small segment of the population, like the Stephen Millers, who don't care, who know they're being hypocritical, and then you've got others who are so blinded by their indoctrination that they don't realize that their righteousness is fallacious, and the rule they apply here and apply here aren't the same, even though out of the side of their mouth they'll turn around and say racism doesn't exist, while pulling down these signs and being triggered by a Black Lives Matter poster or the face of a black man. There was somebody online the other day who was applauding the fact that you've got an African American going into space for the first time ever, and they were triggered by the comment and made a statement, why do you people always make it about race? And of course I went off. But I don't know. It's been a very 4 years.
You got a certain segment of the population that truly, really feels that there's nothing wrong with nothing. Okay, they just really, truly feel there's nothing wrong with nothing. So to them, because Obama was elected, then we shouldn't talk about race anymore. We had the ultimate position field in the world, the most powerful position field in the world. So we shouldn't even worry about it anymore, okay? It shouldn't be no big deal.
But then you've got people holding up posters saying "Blacks and Indians first, welcome to New World Order," shown on Fox News at one of the MAGA protests. You've got a gazillion videos online of people calling each other the N-word and all of this nonsense, and MAGA people surrounding and intimidating people of color and women and whatnot, and they completely gloss over it like it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what's in the water or their education or what it is, but there's something deeply broken with these people.
They're scared. Like you said, probably about 2050, they will be a minority, a true minority. And we'll probably be a minority because Hispanics are probably, the population probably be majority Hispanic, Latino, will really drive this population. And we'll probably be the second, the number one minority. And then underneath us, whites will be, at the bottom of the totem pole. So they're very scared, okay? They have a fear because if you look at the upper Midwest, not a lot of white babies being born now. Okay, that's just the bottom line of it. They're not populating the population anymore like they used to. So they do have a real fear. Instead of them trying to learn how to coexist with everyone and make this a true melting pot, they continue to work. They continue to fall into their fears. And then, like I said, you got people like the current occupant of the White House who strokes those fears. Okay, then you got like the Proud Boys and all those other knuckleheads that stroke the fears of the white population, and they fall right into the trap.
Yeah, and I remember last year or 2 years ago, I called them out and said that they are one of many racist organizations, and I can't tell you how many people, including some family, that said, no, they're just anti-big government. You see, they're at the Black Lives Matter protests, yada, yada.
Yeah, they had the Black Lives protests, okay.
Yeah, but and they came out, 2 weeks ago, full force admitting that they are nationalist, white supremacists, and yada, yada. But just to bring it back to COVID for a minute, whether it's Trump before he leaves office or Biden, it looks like we're heading into another surge. I don't know. I don't think that we can avoid
it.
And I think that there's going to be another shutdown, and I think that as much as we pay in taxes, and it's basically we give that money to government in trust, right, to help with our infrastructure, to help with our public schools and various programs. They need to hit us back up. They need to give more money to small businesses, not these Chipotle and all of this other bullshit, because they can afford it, but to small businesses, to employees who can't work or can only work staggered schedules and not full time, and to people who don't have insurance. This is one of those times when the government needs to give back directly to the people what we put into it. And I honestly think that the vaccine should be free, because it is in the best interest of this country that everybody gets it.
I think the vaccine is going to be free. I think they got plans to vaccine people, because I think that's another problem again. What percentage of the vote did Biden get? That's the percentage that's going to take the vaccine. The other percentage is not going to do the vaccine. So, this problem with COVID-19 is going to be a long, ongoing problem for years to come. If you take the vaccine, you'll be able to protect yourself, and hopefully your family and friends will get it. But the other half of the population, it's no virus, okay? So why are they going to take the vaccine?
Honestly, I'm a little nervous about. First of all, Art, I agree that something is needed to address this pandemic, obviously, but at the same time, this country tends to be vaccine heavy. I think we have more vaccines in this country than any other country, and you would think that as many vaccines as we take, other countries would be overrun with pandemics, and they're not. So it makes me it does give me cause. I'm not an anti-vaxxer necessarily.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. No, I got my measles shot and I had chicken pox, so I didn't need that. But it just concerns me. Every year, if you've noticed, every year for the last 10 years, there's been a new vaccine, H1N1, human papilloma, yada, yada. Now they've got a vaccine against shingles. Like every year there's a new vaccine. And given this country's history, or Western society's history, but we'll talk about American first, of developing vaccines, testing them out in Mexico, testing them out in Puerto Rico, testing them out in Africa, sterilizing generations of women. Even in the 50s, what was that drug that they gave women that resulted in numbers of children being born with disabilities or
I know what you're talking about.
Mutations. So given the speed that this vaccine was developed, and I don't know how much the international community assisted with this, it makes me feel a little bit like a crash test dummy.
Yeah.
Do we know that this is good for people with heart conditions or with thyroid conditions or with liver conditions?
You're going to find out, but you got to realize technology, the advances in technology have helped develop this vaccine at a much faster rate. We're not back in the 20s and 30s when you took your cereal bowl in the kitchen and started mixing medicines together and try to figure out what you're going to do or what combination of formula works.
Is that what you did?
Huh?
Is that what you did?
What we used to do. Yeah, you used to take the cereal bowl and mix it up with different things. Technology has allowed scientists to duplicate stuff online and kind of look at it and kind of figure it out and get the X's and O's and the T's and the I's and dot the I's and get everything together. And I think that's one of the reasons that it came out a little faster, but this is the thing. It's going to be a lot of people are going to be fearful of taking the vaccine, but if you don't take it, this problem that we have now will be lowered, but it won't go away. Okay, we'll still be dealing with this problem. Now, when you look at if the guy at the top had taken this virus seriously from the beginning, there's a lot of things that this country could have done to, beat back the virus, and it wouldn't be as bad as it is now. But he said, yeah, it's going to end tomorrow morning. You're going to wake up and the virus been took the plane back to China. That was his whole diminished. That's how he felt about it. But the surge is, taking place around the world. Like, well, yeah, because Italy is getting whipped right now. England is getting whipped right now. But the strange thing, I don't hear nothing from Canada. They got something going on up there they ain't told us about.
Well, I mean, first of all, culturally, I think that they're just a little smarter than we are in this country and a little more responsible in terms of personal responsibility and accountability. My brother's Canadian, he lives out there, and they all, the posts that I see and the information that I see from him and other people in Canada is they're being responsible and they're wearing their masks. And I don't know if it's as heavily populated as the United States is, as densely.
Well, right, it isn't, because
Yeah.
you look at some of the provinces,
Right.
they're like got humongous. The next person, when I was with one company I was working for, and one of the district managers in Canada, his next door may have been, a day's drive from one location. Okay,
Yeah.
he had to drive a day's drive to get to his next store to check out. So yeah, it's not as densely populated, but you made a key point. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. And all of these folks who've been walking around without their masks, going to rallies, and they try to point out the protests, but honestly, at the protests, I see people wearing masks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
well, you see the left wing protest wearing masks. That protest over in D.C. last Saturday, and no mask, no mask. And so, in about 2 weeks from last Saturday, you're going to see D.C. going to start having problems again. We're going to start having problems here in Maryland again. They're going to start spiking again. Delaware, Virginia, West Virginia, those areas, because probably the majority of the people who came to this rally in D.C. were probably local people from the D.C. area, Virginia, Delaware, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Okay, so you're going to see some spikes in about another week and a half or 2 weeks, because they weren't wearing masks. They just don't get it. So we're going to have to go through another surge, or another peak right before Christmas because of this. I don't know.
A part of me is almost surprised that no crazy evangelical has tried to claim that this was sort of, a variation of the rapture. I mean, that's just how absurd the right has been for the last 4 years. So I don't know.
I was listening to. I didn't even share it with nobody because I'm in so many groups. So I was in this one group, pretty diverse group, and this one pastor on there, and it didn't have any likes or anything to it, and so I saw it. I said, "Let me listen to this mess, see what he got to say."
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bunch of mess.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Mark my word, Biden is not going to be the next president. Da, 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 da. This is why. Da, 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 da. This is a demonic. This is Satan messing with everything. Da, 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 da. And then this guy has like 300, 400,000 followers. Okay. And then I look down, because when you look down in these groups, you see pictures of people that might be friends with you, you might click on. And I'm looking at some of the people in there, both black and white. And I said, Lord have mercy. These people been drinking too much of the Kool-Aid with extra sugar. And I said, but people in the church follow these so-called pastors that lie. I said, then you're supposed to be a pastor, and you're going to lie like this to the people that, Biden did not win. He isn't going to win. Mark my word, Trump is going to be still going to be in the White House. It's just ridiculous how people follow, people. And then, when you look at back over religion over the years, blacks have been guilty too of following black preachers that won't worth a damn, okay? All right? Giving them money. My grandmother, God rest her soul, used to make me so mad. Ordering them daggone prayer claws and sending Reverend Ike money. Okay? That used to kill me. And Reverend Ike had about 10 or 15 Rolls Royces and stuff. He was fleecing the people. But people get caught up in religion for some strange reason, and they just lose it.
Do you think, like, I know I don't doubt without at all that there's some pastors that know they're charlatans. But do you honestly think that there are any of these folks who truly believe they're righteous? Or do you think that they all know that they're charlatans?
No, I know. Now, look, I know some really good pastors who practice what they preach. Okay.
No, I mean these ones who have the jets and the Rolls Royces and the
Oh
$5 million.
no, they are. Look, let me say something. Okay. Now, and we're way off subject, but that's okay. This is the last show for the year anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Being a pastor is a job now. Okay. It's not like back in the day. When back in the day, my father had 2 churches. He went to a church every other Sunday, only got $35. Okay. He was a school teacher, so his base salary came from being a school teacher. Churches weren't paying that. And now churches, I mean, a lot of these churches that can afford it, salaries. I know guys making $100,000, $200,000 a year because of the size of the church and the church board votes on. Okay, it's not like they just giving it to them. Okay, and they're doing the work that they're supposed to be doing. Okay, but you got some of these guys out here are hustlers. Okay, like when you look at the Paula Whites and you look at some of the other guys and some of the other guys, either black or white, who are hustling. Creflo Dollar, some of these other guys asking the congregation to buy them new planes and stuff. If you are really into helping people and doing the work, doing the work of the Lord, why can't you go to the airport and get a first class ticket? Okay, if you got to be that comfortable, or better still, just ride and coach because the church is paying for it, you're not paying for it. Okay, but some of these guys are actually out here fleecing the congregation. Okay,
so you think they know that they're charlatans?
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
They know. When you look at some of these houses that some of these guys live in, just ripping the churches off. I mean, you got your big house, but then you got a family that's living in the inner city, worried about keeping the lights on and keeping food in the refrigerator. But they gave that last 10% of that money to you, to the church, and you treat them this way. But you drive outside the neighborhood, okay? Now, when you look at a guy like, they've been trying for years to bring T.D. Jakes down, okay? The guy's above board with everything because the money he makes from his outside sources, his books, his movies, things of that nature, okay? So he doesn't take a salary from his church.
Yeah.
So you have to respect guys like that. He could take money from the church, but his money comes from his outside conferences and things of that nature, and they've tried hard to bring him down because they see his lifestyle. Now, if you're able to go out and earn your money through your business, I don't have a problem with that. But when you're earning your money and taking your money off the backs of your parishioners, I do have a problem with that.
Yeah, especially now. Now.
And you got people still out here struggling to try to tithe to the church and give 10% when in this day and time you can't do it.
Or their COVID check or their stimulus check.
Yeah.
Things
but they get beat up. They get beat up by the pastor. Like Paula the pimp. The first week of the year, she told her people, look, you got to give me your first fruits of the year. Basically, give me your first paycheck. You're going to have the best year ever. Okay, I wonder how many of them people thinking about, okay, I gave my first paycheck of the year. Here, March 13th, everything done closed down in the country. God gives you common sense, okay? It's not all about listening to man. You have to listen to your mind sometime and use your common sense. Does this make sense?
Yeah, well, I think some people have lost their mind. So
they have.
I don't know.
Yeah. But look, one other thing, Michigan, they're trying hard these Republicans are trying hard to hold on to this election and win it for what they can, okay? Now, Wayne County is the largest black populated county in Michigan. That's Detroit.
Yep. And they're trying to wipe out those votes.
Yeah, they wouldn't certify it tonight. The 2 Democrats voted to certify. The 2 Republicans voted against certifying. And then they got to go to another panel to get the certification. Okay? Which it could end up in court just to get a certification. Okay?
It's disgusting.
One county out of the whole state, because it's a ton of votes in there. If they can hold it up as much as they can, um, they will, hold up the election. But I mean, it doesn't make sense. You got to spend extra money to go to court. I see Reverend Cherry put through a Bible verse in there. Thank you, Derek.
I saw that. Yeah.
But
Oh, I wish every state did what Wisconsin did and say, you want us to count, you need to pay us a fine of $3 million, and we'll go through that process. If he, what is it, 8 million now in Wisconsin? If he wants to do a recount
yeah,
for various
that's why the
counties,
girl didn't. Jill Stein didn't do it the last time because they told her $3.5 million. You got to wire it to us.
yeah,
They will start a recount.
and that's I support that 100%. We
She
wouldn't
changed
be
her mind.
we wouldn't be here now if that were the case. I mean,
Yeah.
although he might not. I mean, you have to pay it up front, right? So, but at the end of the day, we know that his base will give him money until the cows come home. They're already doing it. They're already doing it.
60% of this money that they're sending to him now goes into his campaign fund.
Yeah, to pay for his 2016 run because he's still in debt from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I wonder how long it's going to take for people to realize that they're being fleeced.
Well, when we see them on the corner near the White House with cups in their hands, shaking the cup for a quarter, that's when they're gonna realize it.
So this is our last show for the year.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I think we had a good run this year. We had some good topics. I think when we come back the second week of January, we're gonna have a whole lot to talk about.
Oh God, we might have to do
so much is going to happen. Yeah, so much is going to happen between now and then that we might have to all of a sudden just have a special show just to keep people up, because a lot of change is going to take place, But I think the biggest thing we got facing us now, aside the fact, beside the fact that Biden will be coming in January, is this COVID outbreak, this COVID,
Well, we got to see what happens December. Was it December 14th when the Electoral College finally votes?
Yeah, but see, I'm not too much worried about that because most states now, the majority of the states, over half of the states have laws that require you to vote vote for the person that was elected by the state. Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't do it in 2016.
Well, but those are the states that don't. Those are the states that don't have the law. Okay, but most governors, both Republican and Democrat, said that their people will be voting for the person that was duly elected. And if I'm not mistaken, most of the states that do have the law, Democratic states, are blue states. Okay.
Wisconsin, yeah.
So
Colorado,
it should be a pretty smooth event. And if not, they go to court. Okay. The bottom line is he was elected. And he's going to be the president. But like I said, 45 is trying everything that he can to prolong this and to try to steal it.
Well, I think Biden just needs to make sure that he takes his vitamins, that he has security guards. I mean, somebody actually posted, I think it was in Parler, that until he takes the oath of office, he's a citizen.
Yeah.
And that suggesting that they could take him out between now and then. And God forbid, obviously you've got Pence, you've got Nancy Pelosi, you've got Harris, but that would be an unprecedented situation, knock on wood.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. This is the thing. If it boils down to it, Pelosi will be the next president, okay? All right.
Let's keep them both healthy for the time being, right?
I know based on the Constitution, if Knucklehead wants to go down this road, he's still going to be out of a job. Even if Biden don't get inaugurated to June or July, he's still going to be out of a job after it goes through court.
I really, really hope so. But the last 4 years, if they've shown us anything, they've shown us that they're willing to look under every rock, every crevice, look for every obtuse, long forgotten law or precedent and try to push it through. And with this, I'm going to call a spade, this potentially corrupt Supreme Court, and not getting the seats in the House, it just makes me a little nervous.
Well, the Supreme Court has really surprised me. Okay, I've really been surprised at their rulings over the last couple of weeks. Think rulings that you would thought they would just automatically jumped on the bandwagon. They haven't. Okay, so and I know going down the road there are going to be some losses. Okay, but I think this is a problem when it comes to the election. Even with the guy in Georgia, do you want to have your legacy marred by the fact that you cheated, that you
It
lied?
doesn't matter to him because his.
But I'm not even
base
I'm not even talking about that. Look at now, okay? Forget him, okay? Far I'm concerned, he's dead, okay?
boy.
But you take other people. The guy, like I said, the guy in Georgia has really surprised me. He was surprised Stacey, because there are some people out here that take their job seriously, okay? I mean, he's the dude in Georgia is getting the crap beat out of him. By the Republican Party, because they're saying, you should throw these votes away. But the thing about it, every time they want to throw away votes, it's in the black community, Fulton County. If you just throw away these votes in Fulton County that we couldn't identify the signatures on, that'll give Perdue the votes that he needs. But
I don't even understand comparing signatures because honestly, my signature is not the same every time I sign.
Mine ain't either, okay?
So I think that by itself is a faulty system.
Yeah.
Not saying that I want IDs, but using maybe fingerprint would be better.
But none of it would be better. Let people vote, okay?
Yeah.
Just straight up let people vote and stop all this. Anything to win an election, okay? So like I said, if I'm concerned, that guy in the White House, he can do whatever he wants to do. But the thing about it, I'm gonna walk up to the White House. I'm gonna peek through the fences on January 20th at 12 o'clock. If he don't bring his butt out there, I want to see the Secret Service drag him up out of there. Okay.
No, we'll do it like the Berlin Wall and start taking it down plank by plank on January.
That's the thing. The wall is coming down when Biden goes into office. But when you go down, if you go downtown and you look through that fence and you look at the White House and you see the one fence, then inside there's another fence, then there's the White House. It's pathetic.
It's
they protecting that like that, okay?
Well, you see, he's afraid to leave the White House now. He won't even go to Mar-a-Lago for Thanksgiving. He's
going.
He's hunkering in. But I just wanted to say we have 2 minutes left to our last show of the year and see if Tony wants to chime in.
Wake up, Tony. Come on in. Think she's asleep. Wipe your face.
No, because I don't have makeup on.
Keep your hands off your face.
You don't need makeup. You are beautiful.
Oh my God. And I'm just tired and I'm sleepy. Oh my God.
At least you're not yellow, okay? So stop.
Oh my God. But no, I'm not going to chime in on the show because I know that we only have about a minute and a half left. But I do want to say to everyone, with all my heart, I thank them for supporting Real World News TV throughout 2020. It's been a rough year with all that's going on with COVID, the Trump administration, the elections. Now we're in a different area of, post-election. And with you and Reggie, Chair and Reggie, being, just always there to make sure that this show goes off. I can't tell you how much I thank you for that and being a part of this network. And I'm really looking forward to getting out of 2020 like most people and starting anew in 2021. And I pray that we seemingly go into 2021 with a lot more hope for something better. Because right now we're in a nation of division and divisiveness have turned this country into something that I don't think we've seen, nor will we ever see again if this administration can turn things around. So with all that said, thank you.
You remember when we used to do this show for 2 hours?
Did we?
We used to do the show for 2 hours.
I can't remember that. Thank God.
Yeah.
2 hours. It was like 2 hours every other week. We used to do the show.
Yeah.
I said, Tony, you do this show 1 hour every week. You know, I'd rather do that than do 2 hours. We used to do it for 2 solid hours.
I must have blocked that out.
That was young. That was younger and crazy. It was just,
that was before the video when we were still.
Exactly. And we had Jay Arrington with us.
Yeah.
It was just, that was the longest show ever. And just think, 3 shows a week for 2 hours apiece. Yeah, but now it's like, now that we've gotten older, 1 hour is too much.
Look, and we weren't even doing live streaming. We were doing it on our phones.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We were doing it on the phone.
And the great thing is that we've had people who followed us from then to now, and I think that they have seen a change. You know, not just because of the technology. I think that they've seen a change in how things are delivered, and for them to stick through everything that we've gone through. Not just with real world news, because I think it was real world news, real world politics back then. But they have stuck through everything that we've gone through, you know, and it's amazing that over the years you can still have followers and then still gain followers, and they're loyal to you. So, like I said, every time we get to this point of the year, it amazes me how resilient all of you guys are. I know damn well I'm resilient because I'm tired every week. But it's so worth it to be able to come to the people and bring them not just our commentary, but bring them common sense. And that's what matters, because a lot of times we don't get that in our mainstream media. But I just want to say thank you to you, Reggie, and you, Chera. You guys mean the world to me. During this vacation, while we're out up through January, I really want you to take care of yourselves. Get your rest, because you know Mama B is going to be behind the scenes again, because I'll be off for like 3 weeks and I'll be climbing the walls. I'll need to get in here and try and figure out, okay, what can we do next? So,
well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of fodder for the first of the year. I will say, you know, again, thank you. It's been, what, 4 or 5 years now?
Yes, 5 years.
5 years now. And certainly over the last 4, no, it has to have been more than 4.
It's
5. Because we were doing this. We did this during Obama. We did this during Trump. So
yeah,
maybe even going into 6 years.
Well, how long has it been for me? How long has it been for me?
It's been almost 7 years for you, because you came in 3 years after we got started in 2000. I'm going to say 2014, 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I started this when my husband and I met, so that'd be 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's been, I'll say, for the last 3.5 years, certainly very cathartic, you know, because you get lost in Facebook and social media, which we have to stay on to market our show, and you just hear these comments and see the demise of common sense and our democracy and the divisiveness and the polarization, and to have a place, our safe space, but with the exception of an occasional troll, which is mildly entertaining,
right?
To be able to, you know, express and release the valve, let all the steam out. It's been helpful.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it has.
Just a quick little tidbit. The GOP party stepped in Michigan and got Wayne County certified.
Wow.
We're watching the death knell of this administration.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to agree with you, Reggie. When we come back in January, you guys are going to have a lot to talk about.
We might have to do a 2-hour special.
Damn that. I have not.
Oh, boy.
You know what? We could do that, but only if we get other hosts and we do the
No, that's okay.
round table like we did that last time, right? When we had like 9 different people on the show.
Yeah.
Real world news roulette. That worked actually. It's kind of entertaining.
We'll do 1 hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, I do thank you both. You guys have been a part of my life for a number of years, and I don't know what I would do without you. And I always tell people when they ask me about Real World News TV, I say, you know what? I got the smartest people in the world working on that show, and I truly mean it, and I will always say that. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being a part of this network. Anything else?
I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Excuse me, happy whatever you want to do.
Happy COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My voice needs a rest. 2 shows.
Yeah.
My voice needs a rest bad.
Yeah, and by the way, good show. For those who do not know, and then I'm gonna take us out. But for those who don't know, Reggie does Monday nights with Urban Sentinel Live, a new show that started in the mid part of 2020, and it's a great show. So if you have a chance, go on Facebook, look up Urban Sentinel Live. Catch up on those past shows that he's just done, and also that will be coming back in January as well. So with that being said, I haven't even written a show up for tomorrow night, but just know we'll be here for Hot Topics Talk Radio TV. Me and Yvonne Baker will be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock, not 8, I keep saying 8, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Hot Topics Talk Radio TV with me and Yvonne Baker. Like I said, I haven't even written the show yet. This is how you know I'm tired. When I don't get it all done.
Did you hear me stutter during the show? I couldn't get my words out. Tired.
I'm tired. So join me and Yvonne tomorrow night. The show again starts at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. I don't know what the hell we're talking about, but trust me, it's either going to be sex, dating, love, or marriage. That's all we talk about. So just come on back, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night on Hot Topics. Have a wonderful holiday, everybody, and please stay safe, wear your mask, continue to social distance, and God bless you. We'll see you guys in January. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Now I got to take all this stuff down.
How you suffer so.
I really do.
Well, you'll have to keep in touch over the next couple of weeks.
I definitely will. Love you, Chera.
Love you too, baby.
Good night, everybody.